Imagine standing next to someone at the grocery store. Nothing about them stands out. Plain clothes, an older car in the parking lot, no jewelry. But what if I told you that person had over $3 million in the bank? Welcome to the world of stealth wealth. In this video, we're going to reveal exactly what it looks like and how to spot it. Here's a fact that might surprise you. Most truly wealthy people don't look wealthy at all. They drive normal cars, wear simple clothes, and rarely bring up money. Ever. The person quietly standing beside you might be worth more than the loudest person in the room. That's the power of stealth wealth. Before we dive into the signs, let me paint you a picture. Think of someone who gets up in the morning, makes a simple coffee, reads quietly, and goes about their day without a performance. No Instagram stories, no designer logos, just calm, focused living. That's the energy we're talking about. We're so trained to see wealth in things, flashy cars, luxury bags, expensive restaurants. But the wealthiest people in the world learned early on, buying things that scream, "I'm rich," is actually the fastest way to stay broke. Real wealth doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need your approval. So what exactly is stealth wealth? Simply put, it's when someone is rich but deliberately chooses not to act rich. They've built real assets, real financial security, and real freedom, and they've made a conscious choice not to show it off. Today, we're going to break down the 8 most powerful signs that someone is quietly, invisibly wealthy. Stealth wealth isn't about being secretive or antisocial. It's a mindset, a philosophy about what money is actually for. It's not a trophy, it's not a costume, it's a tool for freedom and security, and the people who understand that best are usually the ones who have the most of it. Think of it like a scale. On one side, the flashy status symbols, on the other, genuine peace of mind, privacy, and true freedom. The quietly wealthy have weighed these options and made their choice, and almost every time, peace wins. That choice says everything. A stealth wealth lifestyle might look completely ordinary from the outside, a modest home in a normal neighborhood, a reliable but unremarkable car, a life that doesn't headline anyone's feed. But underneath that ordinary surface, something extraordinary is building, quietly, consistently, deliberately. One of the most powerful things money can actually buy is invisibility, the ability to move through the world without being targeted, judged, or constantly asked for things. The quietly wealthy have created a kind of protective shield, not with security systems, but with perception. They simply don't look like a target. Here's a phrase the stealth wealthy live by: never let your money make noise. The quieter you are about your finances, the more control you maintain. You decide who knows what. You decide how you're perceived, and that kind of control is incredibly powerful. Compare 2 people for a moment. Person A, big house, new car, designer everything, constant stress about payments. Person B, modest home, reliable car, simple life, and a net worth 10 times higher. Which one is actually rich? Person B is, and person B is also far happier. This is the paradox of stealth wealth. When you understand stealth wealth, you start seeing the world differently. You realize that most people are running a race towards status, not wealth. The stealth wealthy stepped off that track a long time ago. They chose freedom over performance, and that single choice changed everything. Now let's get into the signs. Sign number 1, they prioritize quality over logos. A quietly wealthy person doesn't wear clothing covered in brand names. Instead, they wear simple, unbranded, beautifully made clothes that fit perfectly and last for years. There's no billboard, just quality. Why no logos? Because logos are for people who need external validation. When you're financially secure, you don't need to borrow credibility from a brand. You just need something that's excellent, that feels good, lasts long, and represents your own standards, not a brand's marketing. There's a quiet power in someone who's perfectly dressed without a single visible logo. It says, "I know what quality feels like. I don't need anyone to tell me what to value." That kind of quiet confidence is unmistakable, and it's one of the clearest signs of someone who truly has arrived. Walk past a luxury store with a quietly wealthy person and you'll notice something. They don't react. No lingering by the window, no commenting on the prices, no performance of disinterest either. They simply don't care, and that complete indifference to status symbols is the tell. Their closet often tells a different story than their bank account. Minimal, well-organized, each piece chosen for durability and function. Nothing impulse bought, nothing half-worn and forgotten. Every item earns its place. This is what financial discipline looks like in everyday life. Here's the math the stealth wealthy understand. One $300 quality shirt that lasts 10 years beats 10 $30 shirts that fall apart in a year. It's not just smarter financially, it's smarter in every way. They think in decades, not seasons, and their wardrobe proves it. Sign number 2, they almost never brag about money. Put a quietly wealthy person in a social setting and watch. They listen more than they talk. They ask questions. They seem genuinely interested in others. You will almost never hear them mention what they earn, what they own, or what they spent. Why the silence? Because the truly wealthy have nothing left to prove. They already know what they have. They don't need you to confirm it for them. The need to brag about money is actually a sign of financial insecurity, not wealth. Quiet equals confidence. Simple as that. Here's a subtle tell. While someone else brags about their new sports car or holiday villa, the quietly wealthy person stays completely still. Maybe a small, polite smile, maybe a gentle nod. But inside, they might own a property 10 times more valuable. They just see no reason to mention it. Their social life reflects this too. Simple dinners at home, small circles of genuine friends, no performance. The quietly wealthy invest in relationships, not appearances. They found that the table where everyone is real is worth more than any VIP lounge in the world. You also won't find them performing wealth on social media. No carefully staged photos of champagne on a yacht. No accidentally showing off a designer outfit. Their social presence, if they have one at all, is modest, real, and completely free of financial posturing. And here's the fascinating part. The reveal often comes years later. A coworker you've sat beside for a decade casually mentions a vacation home. A neighbor retires at 48. A friend mentions paying for their child's college in cash. The quietly wealthy are revealed slowly, accidentally, and it always surprises people. Sign number 3. They treat time as their most valuable currency. Ask a stealth wealthy person what their rarest asset is, and they'll say time, every time. Not money, not investments, time. Because they've figured out that you can always make more money. You can never get back a lost hour. This means they outsource anything that doesn't deserve their personal attention. Lawn care, home cleaning, administrative tasks. If someone else can do it competently, they hire that person. Not to show off, but because their time is being used for something more important. Living, creating, investing. While others say, I can't afford to hire help, the stealth wealthy ask a different question. Can I afford not to hire help? When you calculate what your time is worth per hour, suddenly paying someone $25 to clean your house becomes the most logical investment imaginable. This logic extends to everything. They'll pay for a direct flight over a connection that saves $80 but costs 3 hours. They'll pay for grocery delivery on a busy week. They don't do this carelessly, they do it because they've genuinely calculated the value of their time and refuse to trade it for small savings. And when they travel, no marathon through 7 airports to save $40. They choose comfort and efficiency. Not first class necessarily, but smart. A non-stop flight, a hotel close to where they need to be. Every decision optimized not for status, but for time well spent. Their entire life is designed around time management, not clock watching, but intentional living. They know which hours belong to work, which to family, which to rest. Because when your time is genuinely valuable, you protect it with the same energy others protect their money. Sign number 4, high financial literacy. The quietly wealthy don't just have money, they understand money at a deep level. They track their expenses carefully, not because they're worried, but because awareness is power. They know exactly where every dollar goes and why. This isn't obsession, it's mastery.
They review their financial picture the same way a skilled craftsman checks their tools, not anxiously, but regularly and calmly, because when you understand your finances completely, there are very few surprises, and surprises are what cause financial stress. Their mental formula is simple. Income minus expenses equals what gets invested. That gap between earning and spending, that's where wealth is actually built. And they've internalized this formula so deeply that it governs every financial decision, conscious or not. They think in compound growth. They understand that $500 invested today won't look like much next year, but in 20 years, with compounding, it could be transformational. This is why they plant financial seeds that other people walk right past. They can see the future harvest others can't imagine. Interestingly, a stealth wealthy are often the most careful readers of contracts and fine print. They take their time. They ask questions. They don't let social pressure rush a financial decision. The person who reads every clause before signing isn't being difficult, they're being quietly wealthy.
Here's a visual that captures it perfectly. 2 jars on the table. One labeled spend, nearly empty. One labeled invest, overflowing. The stealth wealthy didn't get there by earning millions overnight. They got there by being consistent, disciplined, and patient with those 2 jars year after year. Sign number 5, delayed gratification. This might be the single most powerful habit that separates the quietly wealthy from everyone else. When something catches their eye, a product, an experience, a purchase, they wait. They don't buy impulsively. They let time decide for them. Before any significant purchase, they research, they compare, they read reviews, look for alternatives, consider whether they truly need the item. This isn't about being cheap, it's about being intentional. They refuse to let marketing or social pressure override their better judgment. And here's the beautiful thing. They plan their timing. While others rush in at full price, the quietly wealthy have already circled the sale date on the calendar. They knew this moment was coming, and they prepared for it. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a wealth strategy. When they finally do make the purchase, after research, after waiting, after confirmation, the satisfaction is extraordinary, because they know they made the right call. They got the right thing at the right time for the right price. No buyer's remorse, just quiet, earned satisfaction. Meanwhile, the world around them buzzes with FOMO and trend cycles. Buy now before it's gone. Everyone has one. You deserve it. And the quietly wealthy just sit with their coffee, unbothered, wallet closed, waiting for the tide to pass. And it always does. Here's a practice the quietly wealthy use that you can start today, the 30-day rule. See something you want? Write it down and wait 30 days. More than half the time, the desire completely disappears. What felt urgent on day 1 feels unnecessary on day 30. Wealth is built one skipped impulse at a time. Sign number 6, they invest in high-value, invisible hobbies. Don't look for the quietly wealthy at the sports car dealership. Look for them at a private wine tasting, a gallery opening, a rare book auction, or a high-end hiking expedition. Their luxuries are real, but they're not for public display. Fine art is a perfect example. A quietly wealthy person might own a painting worth more than most people's cars, but it hangs in their living room, appreciated privately. No caption, no hashtag, just genuine love for the work itself. That's the difference between consuming for status and living with meaning. Their leisure time is full, but privately so. A weekend at a secluded cabin, a private chef's table for 2, a first edition book read in a quiet garden. These experiences are deeply luxurious in their quality, but completely invisible to anyone scrolling social media, and that's precisely the point. Books are another signature. The quietly wealthy read a lot. History, philosophy, biography, finance, not to perform intelligence, but because genuine curiosity is what built their wealth in the first place. Their bookshelf is a private map of their mind, and it is almost always extraordinary.
While someone brags about a luxury boat they're still paying for, the quietly wealthy person is already thinking about their next private experience, something that can't be easily photographed or bragged about. Their wealth is felt, not displayed, lived, not performed. Their hobbies often double as investments too. Rare wine appreciates, fine art appreciates, first edition books appreciate. The quietly wealthy have figured out that even their pleasure can grow their net worth because their curiosity leads them to quality, which leads to value. Sign number 7. They stay calm under financial pressure. This is perhaps the most visible sign of all, if you know what to look for. When an unexpected bill arrives, a car breaks down, an appliance fails, the quietly wealthy handle it without panic. There's no drama, just action. Watch someone open a large unexpected bill. Do they go pale? Do they call 3 people in a panic? Or do they pause, review it briefly, reach for their checkbook, and simply handle it? That calm, deliberate response is the signature of someone who is prepared, who has a cushion, who isn't one crisis away from disaster.
Their secret? The emergency fund, not a talked-about concept, an actual, well-stocked fund that sits ready for life's inevitable surprises. When you have 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in an accessible account, the world's unexpected chaos becomes much less terrifying. Preparation is peace. When markets drop, the quietly wealthy don't catastrophize. They don't sell everything in a panic. They might make a note, reassess, and even see opportunity where others see disaster. Financial calm isn't luck. It's the result of years of preparation, diversification, and a very long perspective. There's a meditative quality to true financial security. The noise of the financial world, crashes, bubbles, trends, scares, becomes background sound. Not something to react to, but something to observe from a safe, stable distance. The quietly wealthy have built that distance deliberately. Their financial stress level is nearly at 0, not because nothing bad happens to them, but because they've prepared for it. They've stress-tested their finances. They've built buffers and redundancies. When the storm comes, they're not caught outside without shelter. They built the shelter years ago. Sign number 8. They're quietly, consistently generous. This one surprises people most. The stealth wealthy often give in ways that go completely unnoticed. A generous tip left under a coffee cup, a donation made anonymously, a favor done without announcement. Generosity for them is private by design. They share what they have, clothes, food, resources, time, without needing it acknowledged. There's no performance of giving, no post about it, no story, no receipt for public approval. The act itself is the reward, and this private generosity is one of the purest expressions of genuine wealth. At dinner, they often quietly reach for the check before anyone else has the chance, not to show off, but because they genuinely want to do something kind for the people they care about, and because, unlike many others, they tip generously, consistently. The mechanic, the barista, the delivery person. Not to impress, but because they understand that kindness multiplied creates a kind world. And frankly, because they remember what it felt like to work for tips. That memory never fully leaves. Some of the most generously wealthy people spend their time volunteering, serving at food banks, mentoring young entrepreneurs, donating skills and expertise. Not for tax credits or public praise, but because purpose is the deepest form of wealth, and purpose is found in giving. Anonymous donations, that's the final frontier of stealth generosity. No name on the brick, no plaque on the wall, just the quiet certainty that somewhere, someone's life got better because of what you gave. The stealth wealthy often consider this their greatest investment of all. Let's talk lifestyle. The stealth wealthy drive older, modest, reliable cars, not because they can't afford better, but because they've done the math. A car is a depreciating asset. It loses value every single day. Spending $800 a month on a car payment is, in their view, simply poor math. Warren Buffett drove the same modest Cadillac for years. Mark Zuckerberg drives a $30,000 Acura. Alice Walton, the wealthiest woman in America, drove a 2006 Ford pickup. These are people who could buy entire car companies, but they choose not to perform wealth. They choose to build it. Their homes are similar.
Modest, well-maintained, comfortable, but not excessive. No 10,000 square foot mansion that requires a full staff. No oceanfront show palace that costs a fortune to maintain. Just a home that serves its purpose beautifully. Shelter, comfort, safety, family.
What they do invest in are assets that grow: real estate, stocks, bonds, businesses, diversified, strategic, patient holdings. While others spend on things that depreciate, the quietly wealthy load up on things that appreciate. Their net worth grows while they drive average cars and live in average neighborhoods. And their watch? It tells time. A simple, reliable timepiece, perhaps well-made, perhaps even valuable, but never showy. The quietly wealthy understand that the most expensive watch in the room belongs to the person who needs you to know its price. They don't need you to know anything. Now, why does any of this matter to you? Because stealth wealth isn't just something to admire in others. It's a lifestyle you can choose right now, today. You don't need $1 million to start living with the mindset and habits of someone who has one. The mindset comes first. The money follows. The stealth wealthy have often found that the richest part of their life isn't the bank account. It's the relationships, the quiet evenings, the genuine friendships, the deep conversations that happen when money stops being the center of your identity. When you stop chasing appearances, real life shows up. And through all of it, through the investments, the quiet generosity, the patient discipline, they remain fundamentally themselves. Wealth hasn't changed who they are. That might be the greatest achievement of all, building significant financial power while remaining humble, grounded, and real. So here you have it, 8 signs of stealth wealth, and beneath every single one is the same core belief. Real freedom doesn't come from what you show the world. It comes from what you build in private, over time, through discipline, patience, and purpose. The most powerful wealth always whispers. Now it's your turn. Which of these 8 signs are you already practicing or ready to start? The path to quiet wealth is open to anyone willing to stop chasing applause and start building something real. Subscribe, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay quiet, stay building, stay wealthy.